Hi everyone. My name is Shelby, and I want to talk about a solo trip that I took this past December in 2024 to Leavenworth, Washington. So I actually went on a trip to Nashville in January of 2024, and I ended up getting stuck there for 2 extra days because they had a snowstorm, which was only 6 inches. I'm from Maryland, and that really is not like terrible, but it cut the whole town at their knees, and we basically got stuck there for an extra 48 hours. So, anyway, I got a flight credit for that like craziness, and so I was trying to think of somewhere that I wanted to go for a trip to use this flight credit. It was like $350. And so I looked up a few different options, and it was through Southwest. So basically anywhere that Southwest flew was things that I was looking at. And I ended up choosing Leavenworth, Washington, which is a cute little like Christmassy town. And I'm not big on Christmas. I actually don't like Christmas because my birthday is 2 days after Christmas. And I really am not what you would call a Christmas fan at all. But I decided that I thought this would be a fun little weekend trip to go and have a good time. So I just want to go over a pretty much just overhaul of my whole trip to tell you things that I did and things I would recommend when you go there. So to start, I did use a travel agent. I will always advocate for travel agents. I'll make a separate video on my Greece trip, but we had basically a snafu where we missed the cruise ship, and because we use a travel agent, I didn't have to like be on my phone trying to solve these problems. The travel agent did all of it for us, which was incredible. And I've always been a person that books my own trips and like I don't need a travel agent, but this is a plug for travel agents everywhere because you should use them and they're very helpful, especially if something goes wrong. So I am using my laptop for notes from my whole trip. But anyway, so I did use a travel agent to book my hotel and the rental car that I got. I decided to take my chances using a rental car instead of there's like a train that you can take, and there's also a small airplane, I think, but those had like very designated times, and I wanted to be able to just basically go when I wanted to and like not really be on the schedule of the train or like, oh, I have to be at this, train stop by a certain time and then I have to Uber, blah, blah. So I just opted to do the rental car, and I'm so glad that I did. I will say that I did not have any snow. I think it snowed before I got there. So it's about a 2.5 hour drive, or 2 hour, I think it was like 2 hour drive from the airport, from Seattle airport to Leavenworth. And I didn't have any snow issues with that. There was snow on the ground, but the roads were like totally clear. So I didn't have any issues with that driving. I didn't hit any traffic at all either. But this is my first time renting a rental car, which I have a quick tangent about that because the lady was very nice, but she tried to add all these like annoying things on and that was just annoying. So one, she tried to add on the gas thing, which I did end up getting, but the gas, so she added on like a charge of like $80 so that I could bring the car back empty, which worked out for me because usually I'm not going to get the gas any other time, but worked out for me because the gas near the airport was like over $4, $4 or $5. And once I drove out away from the airport, maybe like an hour, it was definitely less. Like a normal price around Maryland, it's like $3-ish. So it was like a normal price away from the airport. But the lady had told me, like, oh, you don't have to worry about it, whatever. So for the Leavenworth trip, getting the gas, I did technically like save money because driving the 2 hours there and the 2 hours back and just the other like small amounts of driving I did, I used the full tank of gas that they gave me. So it was actually in my favor for that. But then they tried to get you to do the insurance, and then she was trying to upgrade me for the car that I had, and which I did end up getting upgrade because she said she could upgrade me for $100 to a Forerunner. And I love Forerunners. So I did that because I was like, you know what? This is worth it. Because the price before was only like $300. So I was like, you know what? This is my trip. I'll pay another $100 to get the nice 4Runner, and it was this nice white 4Runner. I'll put a picture of it right here. It was so nice. It had heated seats. I was like, I wanted to buy a 4Runner after I got home because having that car was just so nice. Oh, I like loved it. But anyway, back to the Leavenworth trip after that quick tangent. So I flew into Seattle airport by noon, and this was the Thursday before Christmas, so it was like a busy time. More on that later. But I took a shuttle to the rental car place, which is kind of how like the airport rentals work. So you just like kind of find that line outside of the airport once you get your bags and everything, and then that shuttle takes you to the airport. Same thing when you return the car. You just go to the rental place, and then there's a shuttle, a free shuttle that goes back and forth between the airport and the rental place. So then it did take me like between 2 and 2.5 hours to get to Leavenworth, and then I checked into my hotel, the Fairbridge Inn, which, quick notes about the hotel, I would stay there again. It was a great location. It was right outside of downtown, so it was like maybe a 7-minute walk for me to get like into downtown. But I didn't move my car except for like one activity that I had, so that was very nice to be able to just walk into town whenever I wanted food or anything. And there's some other food places that are close by that are like not, they're less crowded because they're not like right in downtown. And so, but it did have an indoor pool. The hotel had an indoor pool and movies to rent, which I did take advantage of for the one day because I had a 3-hour time difference, which was rough when I was trying to go to bed. So I did rent movies from the hotel lobby. They were like $5 and you got a bag of popcorn, which I thought was nice. This hotel also did have breakfast included, which I like their breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast person, but they had real biscuits and sausages, like real sausages, not like the Jimmy Dean ones. They had a waffle maker and fruit and like a much bigger spread than I was expecting for this, like, I was about to say rinky dink hotel. It wasn't rinky dink, but it was like very basic type of hotel. And so then I settled into my hotel. Then I strolled down. So this is Thursday. This is the day that I checked in. I strolled down to the downtown area to kind of get a lay of the land, which I definitely recommend because I was able to like scope out the things that I wanted to buy. Like, I think I might have bought like one thing that night, but I basically just went around and like went into the different shops and was like, oh, if I don't find a better, because I collect shot glasses, so I was like, oh, if I don't find a better shot glass, like I want to come back to this store and buy this shot glass. So I felt like that was helpful to just like kind of feel out where everything was and things like that. So it wasn't busy at all during this time, this like Thursday evening time. And then I ate at Barron House and I got a yummy pretzel and I got hot mulled cider, which was good. It was like super hot, so I had to sit there and like wait for it to cool down because it was like crazy. So then I went back to my hotel, basically chill because I was tired. I like flew literally so many hours. And so on Friday morning, I got up early because of the 3-hour time difference and I watched TikTok for literally probably 2 hours. Then I went and got breakfast at the hotel. I got their biscuits and jelly and sausage. I love a nice like homemade biscuit with jelly. So good. So then I got up. I had a reindeer farm appointment for 3 p.m. on Friday. So I decided to go into town at like 10. So then when I went to town this time, I went ahead and bought like all my souvenirs because I really wasn't sure if I was going to go back into town again. So I was like, well, I'll use this time to go and buy all my souvenirs. And they also had this like Christmas town event, which I was not impressed by, but it was like in their like, I guess I think it is called a convention center or something like that. Maybe not convention center, but like town center type. It's like a hall type place. Like you could probably have like a wedding there. But they basically had this like Christmas town thing, and I ended up buying like an ornament. I got my dad a t-shirt there, and I got a bag because I bought a t-shirt. And so they had a lot of kids stuff there though. So if you're going there with kids, I would recommend that because they had a lot of like little kid activities. They did have little like gingerbread houses. That was cool. I like looking at those. And then after that, I made my way back down the street to Munchin House, which is a popular restaurant right in downtown that has brats and sauerkraut and other stuff. But the main thing people go there for is for the brats. So I went there to get a brat sandwich. They did have a long line, but I don't mind lines, especially when I'm on vacation. I'm chilling. So I went, and it took maybe like 15 minutes to get through the line. I will say all their seating is outside, but they did have nice like heaters that were over top. And I was by myself, and their seating's like kind of weird because they have a lot of long like picnic table style tables, I guess. And so I had to like sit at the end of someone else's table, which I don't mind at all, but it is just like they have all like big tables. And it's also not like huge in there. So I was like, where did all these people that were in line even go? Because it's like not that big of a place. But anyway, so I waited for my food there, and my brat was so good. And they had apple cider sauerkraut, which I'm not really like a big sauerkraut person. I'll eat it at like German festivals and stuff, but other than that, I'm not like buying it from the grocery store or making it or anything. But it was very good. The brat and the sauerkraut, or the apple cider sauerkraut, was delicious. So then I went back to my hotel, and I started to get ready for the reindeer farm. And then the farm was about like a 10-minute drive from downtown. I could have walked there. So like if you did take the train or like that little plane, you could probably walk there, but it's not a super like walk friendly roads to get there. But it probably would have taken like a 20-minute walk to get there from my hotel. But I would suggest driving or Ubering. So I got there at my pre-purchase time, which I think let's see, my time was 3 o'clock, and make sure to book this like in advance. Like basically as soon as it opens for you to be able to book it, you should probably book your time, because at one point, I don't even remember the exact timeline, but at one point I was going to go ahead and book it. Then I was just kind of still figuring out what I was doing on what days. And then I waited like another couple weeks, and there was like hardly any spaces left. So 3 o'clock was just like the time I had to pick, because I think there was only that and like maybe two other times for the weekend I was going. So book that in advance, because it does fill up. Sometimes people are able to get in if you just show up, but that's only if people cancel their times. And when I got there, I think they closed at like 4. My time was 3, and there were like 3 sets of people waiting outside, and I don't think like they were going to get in, because I think the last time was 3:30. So I wouldn't recommend just like trying to show up. So then I got right in at my scheduled time. I got there like right at 3 o'clock, parked in their lot. They have like lot attendants to like help with the craziness, even though it wasn't crazy, because like I said, they closed at 4, so it was like not slow, but I feel like it was less crazy than probably like during the day. And so I went right in. You walk down through the gift shop to get to the place, and I had left my purse in my car because I was like, I just don't even like need to carry this with me, because I'm just going to like pet these reindeer. So I was walking through the gift shop, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to try to see if they have like Apple Pay or Google Pay or something, so that I can buy stuff, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna want to buy stuff. So then I went to go down. You walk like through the gift shop and then kind of down this little path, and it was a little bit icy, even though like I said, it didn't snow while I was there. But then it was like a little bit icy, so I'd recommend wearing like boots or something, because you are on like a farm. So then you walk down the path, and then you come to a heated pavilion, which was nice. It wasn't like blistering cold, I didn't think, but they had this nice like heated pavilion, and they kind of started their presentation. They started a little bit before I got there, but I was like, whatever, I'll just go ahead and listen. I don't know who made their video, but it's very engaging and good quality. So shout out to whoever like edited and filmed their video, because I thought it was like so good. And I'm in like a Leavenworth Facebook group, and some people said that they thought the video was too long, but I found the whole thing like so engaging and interesting, and it was like important things like well, first they had like reindeer facts, which I also found interesting. I learned so much, even though now I don't remember all of them, but it was so cool. And they like had all this info about how like their farm supports caribou conservation efforts. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. And so then I felt even better about doing it. And their prices aren't even expensive. I think it was like maybe $24, $30, something like that. It was like cheap for me. So then they send you into the pen with all the reindeer, and there's a ton of them, like 30, 40 maybe. And you're literally just in the pen with them, and they give you a little cup of food, and they say like to spread out as soon as you get in there, because all the reindeer like want like they know when a group of people comes that they get food, and so they wanted everyone to kind of like go in so you don't get like stuck right at the beginning, because the reindeer will like come right up to you. And I also love that they have a separate pen for people that are in wheelchairs or with small children, because they basically put them in a smaller pen that has maybe like 5 reindeer. I didn't pay super close attention, but they're like more docile reindeer, and which, not that I felt like I was in danger at all in the bigger pen, but it's like they're more used to like a wheelchair is not going to like spook them or something like that. And so they're super like handicap accessible type place, I would say, as someone who's not doesn't have any handicap needs. But from what I saw, I thought it was very like handicap accessible, and it's mostly flat. Like if you have someone to push you, I think it would be totally fine. But anyway, sorry, step off my box talking about that. They also have pen pals, which is like the people that work in the pen, and they're super nice, and they're able to tell you like, oh, this one is, you can pet this one if you would like to. They would like tell you, they would hold them for pictures and say like, oh, hold them at their reins right here. And I met this nice lady, and she took all these nice pictures of me, and I was like, this is like making my life right now. This being in this reindeer thing was like, it was like so cool. So then I maybe stayed in the pen for like 20 minutes, and I just, a lot of it I was just like watching. I was like, this is so cool. Oh, I took a video of these reindeer like fighting, and they were like locked together with their racks, and it was so interesting to just stand there and watch them. And the like pen pal said that, oh, we usually let them like try to release, like let them do it on their own, and they did. They end up breaking apart on their own, and it was just such a cool like, it was just so cool, the whole thing. So then I proceeded to do some damage at the gift shop. I spent $130 on gifts for myself and other people. They had cute Christmas ornaments that were made out of antlers that they drop, and I thought that was so cool, so I got myself one of those, even though I already had an ornament from earlier at the Christmas Town thing. But whatever, I was like, I'm on vacation, I'm gonna buy whatever I want. So then on the way back from the reindeer farm place, and I literally left there, my heart was so full. I was like, I like this whole because the whole time I was trying to figure out if this trip was worth it, and I was like, this reindeer farm thing like made this so worth it. Like I would come here like maybe not every year, but like every other year, every 3 years, just for this reindeer farm, because it was like so cool. So anyway, I stopped at a thrift store on the way home, called Das Thrift. And then I also stopped to take a picture of this McDonald's, because I thought it looked so cool, and I just thought it was so interesting how like everything in the town is like themed for this like Bavarian theme. So then I headed back to my hotel to get packed up for the morning. I went to a pizza place, which was like maybe 2 stores away from my hotel, so it wasn't like completely back into town, but it was like right up in the like little upper town area that I stayed in. And then I would have eaten at this pizza place more times if I was there longer, because the pizza was so good. And I did have to order like whatever their smallest pizza was, and I ate like half of it because it was just me, and I didn't take it with me because I was not going to eat the rest of it, but it was very good. And so that was fun. So then I went back to the hotel. I decided to rent the movie Twisters, which was good. I also rented Five Nights at Freddy's, but I didn't end up watching it because I didn't have time. But their rentals are $5, which I think is kind of a lot. I feel like low-key they should just let you rent them. But I was like, $5 and you get a packet of popcorn, like whatever. So then I could feel the town getting busier because it was like Friday night. So I didn't plan on going back into downtown, just because I had already, like, you can see everything in the downtown like in a day. Honestly, in like 6 hours. You can see the whole downtown area. And I had already gotten all my souvenirs and everything. So I was like, I don't need to go back down there. But I did see this place on TikTok called Cone Bros, which I saw in my travels before, but I had told my boyfriend about it, and I was like, oh, I saw that they have Dole Whip. And I told my boyfriend that I never had Dole Whip, and he was like, oh my God, you should go and get it. So I walked down to Cone Bros, and I did get their Dole Whip, and it was very good. I can't say how it compares to like Disney World Dole Whip because I never had it, but I thought it was great. And so then and they did have the pineapple vanilla swirl, and it was so good. It was so good. So then I went back to my hotel and I watched Twisters. I love Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Shout out to them. So then in the morning, I got up and I went to get the hotel breakfast so that I could make sure I did that before I left for snowmobiling. And I put up my hair in like fake French braids because I don't know how to French braid. So I put it in like 2 low buns basically so that I could wear a helmet for the snowmobiling. And then I put on double leggings and a long sleeve thermal top because I wanted to like make sure I was warm, even though I knew that the place provided the most of the gear that you needed, but I wasn't really sure like how cold I would actually be on the snowmobiles. So anyway, I also packed my purse into like a fanny pack so that I could wear it like with my gear if I needed to, because I wasn't sure also if the snowmobile would have a like compartment for my phone and like my license or whatever. So basically did that. Then I left Leavenworth and I headed on the 30-minute drive to Leavenworth snowmobiling, which was on the way back to the airport area because my flight leaving was really early. So I had my travel agent book a hotel Saturday night so that when I flew out early on Sunday, I wouldn't have to like drive the 2 hours on Sunday as well. So anyway, I got there 30 minutes before my scheduled time, which is what you're supposed to do. And we basically, they gave you everything you need. You get in this like little like cabin and they ask you what size shoes you wear. They gave me the snow boots, everything like that, which is perfect because I don't have snow boots. And traveling with them would have been annoying. And so I put on the snow boots. I put on this big, like snowsuit. That was so funny because the crotch like hung down low, like it fit me, but like the crotch was like at my knees for just like the size that it was. So it was not like a cute form-fitting snowsuit. So bring your own if that's what you were expecting. But they give you everything. They give you a bin with your name on it, and you can put like everything from your party like in that bin, which for me was just my shoes pretty much. And I think I took off my sweatshirt, but other than that, they give you a bin. You can put everything. I felt like pretty safe there. But like I said, I brought my fanny pack and I had my wallet like in my the snowmobile did have a little compartment, so I put it in there. And then so this was so fun. The snowmobiling, I wish that they had, because we basically followed our guide John the whole time, and it was just me and a father and his son rode with him. It was just the snowmobiles. It was just the 2 snowmobiles and our guide. So we basically followed him the whole time, and he would tell us like to go faster, go slower, and like around curves, whatever. We would basically just follow him. And I wish that we had a like open field where we could just go around, because following him was fun, but it would have been cool to just like have an open area for like part of it. But it was basically an hour round trip. We took it like kind of slow in the beginning to like really get used to it. Then as we got more used to it, he asked if we were okay like going faster, and we were like, yeah. And we stopped a few places and took pictures. The snowmobile also had heated handles, including the little piece where your thumb is like not on the same, like the thumb is on the little like trigger piece. And both of those were heated, which was so nice. And I did have to turn it down at one point because it does get very hot. Luckily, he showed us how to do that. But we did go decently fast. I think I went like over 20 miles per hour. I can't remember the exact. I told my dad at the time, but because he asked me. Also, my arms were so sore from like holding it. And I told the guy that, and he was like, "Well, you can like relax your arms." And I was like, "But can I?" So I was like, "Oh my God, my arms are like, this is crazy." So then we took that kind of slow. Then I finished that. So when we finished that, we went into like a different little like shed cabin thing, and it's smaller, and they basically have all this stuff to hang up your things and like put your boots away. And they had brought all of our bins with our stuff in them like over to this other shed cabin thing. And so I was able to like take that stuff off, put on my shoes, and then I asked John, my guide, for like a recommendation on places to eat, and he recommended Plain Hardware for their chili, which first he told me to go back into Leavenworth, and I was like, I'm not going back to Leavenworth. Like, one, it was getting busy because it was the weekend before Christmas, and then two, I was already 30 minutes closer to the airport, so I was like, well, I'm not gonna go back to Leavenworth just to eat something and then drive. That's basically an extra hour of my time. So anyway, so I went there to the Plain Hardware place, and I ended up getting their chili, which was so good. And I'm like weird about getting chili from places like besides my house, but it was really good chili, and it came with a piece of cornbread. And I also got a big molasses cookie, which was big, and it was super soft and like delicious. So I would recommend Plain Hardware, especially if you're in. It's like it was like 10 minutes away from where the snowboard place was. I ate in the car, ate my chili in the car. If you go to that place, they have very limited. It's mostly a coffee place, but they have chili and like one other soup and cookies basically. So don't go there expecting like a whole meal. But it was perfect for me, and then I just went in my car and got on my way to back to Seattle. I went to check into the Quality Inn, which is close to the airport, and Seattle doesn't really have airport hotels that are like attached to the airport. So I just kept my rental car and then drove the rental car in the morning to the other place and Sunday back to the rental car place. So anyway, I chilled for a few hours at the hotel. I was also so tired at this point. I think the snowmobiling like took it out of me. But I went to I ate popcorn for dinner, which was left over from when I rented those movies at the last hotel. So I went and ate the popcorn for dinner, and I felt tired and lazy, so I took a short nap. Then I went 30 minutes away to Kringle's filling station, which is like this weird arcade place. And I think it's like designed for adults and kids, but it was like this the whole thing is basically outside. It has like a garage-ish type part that is like kind of indoor outdoor. Like if it was raining, you could go like in that part and you'd be inside, I guess. But they had karaoke going. But basically the reason I went there is because I saw on Facebook that they were having a Krampus event. And I love Krampus, and I'd never been to a Krampus event. So I was like, well, let me go to this Krampus event and just like hang out and get some pictures taken and then leave. And their whole like gig is that this place, this Kringle's filling station, is that they have hot chocolate coming out of a gas pump, which I don't even like hot chocolate. But with my entry, it was like $25 for a ticket to this place. And with my entry, I got a free hot chocolate. So I drank like half of it. And the guy was like, have you ever had hot chocolate out of a gas pump? And I was like, no. But also, it wasn't like that exciting. But so sorry, Kringle Station, but you were like a weird place. But anyway, I saw the Krampus people, and I got a picture with them, and I got a picture with 3 of them at once, which was exciting. So then I was like so happy that I went there, and then I had the 30 minutes back in my little full runner, and then I basically went to bed. I had to get up early for my flight, which I think was at 9, but I had to be at the airport at like 8. So then I wanted to return the 4Runner and everything. So I took that back. Sad. I'll probably never have a 4Runner because they're so expensive. But anyway, this trip was so fun, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone looking for kind of just like a quick. It was like basically like $1,000 trip, not counting like food and my souvenirs and stuff, but like all the stuff that I booked, like my flight was cheap because I had a $350 discount, so I only paid like $160 I think for my flight, and then my hotels were like $400 or $500ish, and but yeah, I would say it was worth it. If I was to do it again, I would probably link it to a Seattle trip and like stay in Seattle a little bit longer and then do Leavenworth at the beginning or the end of the trip, because I think that would be a better use of the time. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I thought this trip was so fun. I only know Leavenworth for the winter, so if you're going there in the summer, don't ask me. I don't know that much about it except where stuff is. But other than that, it was a great trip, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a quick weekend getaway.